Welcome to the fourth Rimini lecture in Economic and Finance. It's an honor and a pleasure to have among us Professor Philippe Aghion from Harvard University for the fourth lecture. This visit of Philippe Aghion has reminded me of something that my father used to say. He used to say that Italy is a country with the largest number of graduates in the world. In fact, most people in Italy are addressed as doctor, architect, and when we are in a very good mood, also professor. In the more collegiate environment of worldwide academia, people tend to address each other by first name: John, Bob, Philip, Costas, Barbara, Joanna, Luca, Philippe, and so on. However, I have to say that occasionally I meet colleagues that I find difficult to address by first name. People like Costas Azariadis or Philippe Aghion. Not because these people are cold or remote. On the contrary, they tend to be very friendly, engaging, unassuming personalities. The reason is that their contribution to our field is so profound, is so important, and so much above what the rest of us can manage to do, that I feel a sense of extra respect. So I feel humbled in front of these people in the nicest sense of the word. So in this perspective of respect and gratitude that I welcome Professor Aghion among us. And before handing him the word, I hand it over to our chair, Professor Stengers.
Few words to the audience, welcoming people. Okay. Lei.
Gentili ospiti, con piacere porgo a tutti voi il benvenuto nella sede della Fondazione Cassa di Risparmio di Rimini, assieme al saluto del Presidente Massimo Pasquinelli e degli organi di amministrazione del nostro ente. Anche quest'anno, grazie al lavoro del Professor Pelloni e del suo centro, la nostra Fondazione ha l'opportunità di ospitare un evento dedicato alla ricerca, all'analisi economica, con ospiti internazionali di grande prestigio. Chi vive e lavora a Rimini sa bene quanto questo territorio abbia bisogno di ricerca e di confronto con l'esterno per tornare a crescere e rafforzare e migliorare il proprio capitale intellettuale e imprenditoriale. Da più parti si lamenta che il nostro sistema imprenditoriale è eccessivamente autoreferenziale e che è ancora troppo debole il rapporto tra impresa e università sul fronte della ricerca e della sua applicazione pratica a beneficio della crescita. Non è volontà della Fondazione entrare in questa disputa, ma di certo si può dire che la ricerca non è mai abbastanza e che il nostro sistema economico e sociale ha fame di innovazione per tornare competitivo, soprattutto in settori maturi come il turismo balneare. La nostra Fondazione non si occupa direttamente di analisi e di ricerca, ma ha molto a cuore lo sviluppo della nostra comunità economica e sociale. Anzi, si può dire che proprio a questo sviluppo complessivo di Rimini e dei riminesi è orientato tutto il nostro lavoro. Il polo locale dell'Università di Bologna è il canale privilegiato e naturale che abbiamo individuato in questo campo e sul quale la Fondazione investe in maniera importante ogni anno attraverso Rimini, la società consortile di cui è azionista di riferimento. È importante dunque che l'Università sia attenta nei confronti del territorio, così come il territorio lo deve essere nei suoi confronti. Anche la lecture di oggi del professor Philippe Aghion è un momento importante, se non di ricerca applicata, certamente di analisi degli scenari macroeconomici nei quali il nostro Paese e dunque anche il nostro territorio si muovono. scenari che influiscono in maniera determinante sulla nostra crescita e sul nostro benessere. Benvenuto quindi al professor Aguillon, grazie al professor Pelloni per il suo impegno e buon lavoro a tutti.
Thank you very much. Grazie. Grazie a lei. Now we have, on behalf of the Department of Economics, Professor Elettra Agliardi to give a few words, welcoming words again.
On behalf of the Faculty of Economics at Rimini and the Polo Scientifico Didattico of the University of Bologna, I wish to welcome all the participants to this Rimini Lecture on Economics and Finance, which is an important event we have once in a year, and it is also part of the international activities we had in this faculty, because just a few words about the faculty. The faculty is relatively recent because it was built it was created 10 years ago, but it is quite active, and in particular, it distinguishes itself and characterizes from the other faculties of economics of the University of Bologna for its international vocation. We run plenty of workshops, seminars, some school activities, and actually most of them are in collaboration with the Rimini Center of Economic Analysis. And also thanks to this, I can say that the Faculty of Economics at Rimini ranks first in comparison with the other faculties of economics in Bologna and fully of the university campus. And for us, the Rimini Lecture on Economics and Finance is a big event, and this year we have big honor and the privilege to present Professor Philippe Aguillon that today is giving his lecture. Of course, he is one of the most prominent economic thinkers. It is almost impossible to list all the whole range of contributions he gave, because I have to say that all researchers in economics have come across to some of his contributions, either in complete contracts, on learning and market games, or on several aspects on growth, income distribution and growth and employment, growth and innovation, Schumpeterian growth, growth and competition, growth and financial institutions, just to mention a few of them. I mean, but of course, most students in the world are familiar with this important book on endogenous growth theory, and also on plenty of these contributions. And of course, we are honored that he accepted our invitation, and of course, his ability in combining the most advanced and refined theoretical research with the awareness of the topical economic issues make him unanimously one of the most highly regarded economists, a prolific and creative scholar, able to anticipate and indicate a new research path and to affect the current economic and social debate. And for all these things, of course, I want to thank him in particular because he has accepted our invitation, and again, we are grateful for him. Thank you very much.
Philippe Aguillon, and you basically can be a benevolent dictator refusing to answer questions or deciding to answer questions at will. And you can take it as it goes, but at the end we'll have a small discussion anyway. We'll take it from here. Thank you.
So first, let me thank the organizers to put up this wonderful conference, and you've been way too generous to me. So I'm intimidated by all the nice things you've said about me, which I think were way too generous. I will. So this is about finance and economics, so I thought I might talk about something which is a bit at the intersection between the two, which is the link between financial constraints, cyclical macroeconomic policy, and growth. So this is based on, this is based on two papers, one which is already working paper with David Emus and Enis Karoubi. Enis Karoubi is a colleague at BIS, and David Emus is a student of mine at Harvard. And the second paper is joint, I have not put it on my website yet. We have a first draft with Emmanuel Fari, whom Kostas mentioned in his lecture before, and Enis again, which is on the monetary side of things. So the first part is on the fiscal side, the second part on the monetary side. So, in fact, this whole research agenda, probably that I like to stand up. If I stand up, you can't hear me, no? If you prefer me to be seated, no, I guess. That's okay with the translators? That's okay? So, this agenda was based on the following thing. When we teach in macro textbooks, usually when you teach about growth, there was a time where growth had nothing to do with policy. I mean, you would see the Solow model, the Harrod-Domar model. It had nothing to do with policy. Then, with endogenous growth, it started to have something to do with policy. You would talk about patents, property rights, competition, structural aspects, but not so much about fiscal and monetary policy. Usually in growth textbooks, when you talk about monetary and fiscal policy, it's not on the part that relates to growth. And there was a kind of divide between long-term growth and how you conduct macro policy. And in fact, what I want to do is to go beyond that divide. It's say, no, in fact, the way you the way you manage the business cycle as a government, in fact, has a big impact on long-term growth. And that's what I want to push with you. The idea that volatility and growth are correlated goes back to Schumpeter. Schumpeter already knew that, bad times, for example, could be times when you restructure activities. That could have growth implications. But it's not until the mid-90s that we started to see empirical work linking volatility and growth. So, for example, Rame and Rame have a paper in the American Economic Review where they use cross-country regressions to regress volatility on growth on volatility. So they look at the average growth rate of various countries between 1960 and 1992, and on the horizontal axis they have the variance of the growth rate, which is a measure of volatility, and they fit more or less a negative relationship. It looks like if there is any relationship, more volatility should be detrimental to growth, okay? And the question is, why is that? Why is volatility bad for growth? And is the correlation spurious? Is there something that makes, like for example, credit constraint could be something, when you are more credit constrained, maybe you are more volatile for some reason, and at the same time you grow less. Or is there a kind of causal link from volatility to growth? And are there policies that by reducing volatility would improve long-run growth? And that's what I've been after. That's the agenda. So it's an agenda, we'll get back to that, but a kind of motivation a bit to put you in like this. We got the big financial crisis, okay? We said we should get out of it. One view is to say, let's be Keynesian. Let's say, well, Keynesian multiplier. Let's foster demand. Let's start spending everywhere, and then you get out of it. And that's the Keynesian view. And then on the other hand, you have David Cameron or the Tea Party in England, who says cut tax and cut spending. So if you cut spending, interest rate will go down. You cut tax, so you reconstitute profit margin of firms, and that will restart you. And it seems that we are between these two paradigms, the Keynesian and the, how would you call the other one, monetarist or Tea Party, I don't know, the kind of conservative. And what I want to propose to you today is something which is neither fully Keynesian nor conservative, which I would call Schumpeterian. It's a